softly spoken, with no strings tying you to me.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing great. Good. Last time we did some exercises on the verbi essere and verbo avere. We did some exercises and I hope that you understand it better the way I taught it. So today we are going to look into the verbi regolari, because the verb essere and verb avere, they are called verb irregolari. But today we are going to look into verb regolari. Then verb regolare al presente indicativo. They say it's regular verbs in the present indicatives. And in Italian, they have three forms of verbs. Three forms of verbs in regular verbs. The verbs that finish with are, ere, ire. They are called verbi regolari al presente indicativo. So I listed some verbs that ends with are, some verbs that ends with ere, and some verbs that ends with ire. In this third verb that ends with ire, it has two groups. Yes, it has two groups. I will show you an example of the second group. Then this verb, the first verb that ends with are, is called primo coniugazioni. While the one that ends with ere is called secondo coniugazione. Terzo coniugazione, that is first conjugation, second conjugation, and third conjugation verbs. Then let's look into some examples of the verbs. This is verb parlare. Parlare in English means to speak. To speak, to talk. That is the meaning of the verb parlare. And you can see I underline the end of the verb to show you that it goes with this one that ends with are. Parlare means to speak, to talk. Andare means to go. Arrivare, to arrive, to arrive. Studiare, to study. Pensare, to think. Tornare, to return. Mangiare, to eat. Then, when we are using these verbs, the only changes we have is at the end. That place, we change this are to first person singular, second person singular, third person singular, first person plural, second person plural, or third person plural. When you change this are here, anyone you put will show the person you're talking to, or you're talking to yourself, or you're talking to someone else, or talking to themselves. Then after, I'll still show you the example of this one I'm trying to explain now. This second one, andare, to go. You here changes, everything changes automatically, because here you cannot say ando, andi, anda. No, you use io vado. That is the verb andare, to go. Io vado, tu vai, lui o lei va. Io vado, I go. Tu vai, you go. Lui o lei va, he or she goes. Noi andiamo. See, when you say we go, that's how you use this and we come in. Andiamo. Voi andate. Loro vanno. See, loro change, vanno. Then they go. Loro vanno. They go. studiare. We change are here. Io studio, tu studi. Lui o lei studia. Io studio, I study. Tu studi, you study. Lui o lei studia. He or she studies. Noi studiamo, we study. Voi studiate, you study, you plural. Loro studiano, they study. Pensare. Io penso. The only changes you will see on this verb is at the end, where the are will come. You remove it and put whether you're talking of first person singular, whether you're talking of second person singular, whether you're talking of third person singular, or whether you're talking of first person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. That's where it changes. But every other thing remains the same. So I'm in pensare. Pensare, to think. Io penso, I think. Tu pensi, you think. Lui o lei pensa, he or she thinks. Noi pensiamo, we think. Voi pensate, you think. Loro pensano, they think. That's this verb. Then verb tornare, to return. Io torno, I return. Tu torni, you return. Lui o lei torna, he or she returns. Noi torniamo, we return. Voi tornate, you return. Loro tornano, they return. That is the verb tornare. Mangiare, to eat. Io mangio, I eat. Tu mangi, you eat. Lui o lei mangia, he or she eats. Noi mangiamo, we eat. Voi mangiate, you eat. Loro mangiano, they eat. That's the verb mangiare. Then let's go to the verb that ends with ere, secondo coniugazione. Ere. Allora, scrivere, see at the end, ere, scrivere, to write. Chiedere, to ask something to someone. Vedere, to see something. Chiudere, to close the door. Leggere, to read a novel. Prendere, to take a permission. Vincere, to win a lottery. So this scrivere, to write, when it comes to this end ere, it will change to or first person singular, or second person singular, or third person singular, or first person plural, or second person plural, or third person plural. The changes here, this here you see ere. The changes here shows the person that is referring to, the sentence is referring to. The changes here will tell you whether it's you, or he, or she, or we, or they, or I. Yes, like io scrivo, I write. You remove this ere and put o. That means io scrivo. But when I'm talking of you, tu scrivi, you write. I remove this ere and put i. Tu scrivi. Tu scrivi, tu scrivi, you write. Lui o lei scrive. You remove this ere and put this ena. Scrive. Lui o lei scrive. He or she writes. Noi scriviamo. We write. Voi scrivate. You write. You plural. Loro scrivono. Okay, when we come of first person plural, noi scriviamo. This error will go out. What we put there is iamo, iamo, scriviamo. We write. Voi scrivete. Here you put ete. You write. Loro scrivono. They write. You put on. That's where you change these conjugations verbs. Then the second one is called chiedere, to ask. If I want to say I ask, I say io chiedo. I ask. Io chiedo una permesso. I ask a permission. Io chiedo, tu chiedi. Lui o lei chiede. Noi chiediamo. We ask. Voi chiedete. Loro chiedono. They ask. So let's see the verb vedere. Vedere, to see. Io vedo. Tu vedi. Lui o lei vede. Noi vediamo. Voi vedete. Loro vedono. That's how it changes. Chiudere. Io chiudo. Io chiudo la porta. I close the door. Tu chiudi la porta. You close the door. Lui o lei chiude la finestra. He or she close the window. Noi chiudiamo. We close. Voi chiudete. Loro chiudono. Now, let's see the verb leggere. To read. Io leggo. Remember, don't forget where you will change the only difference you will see here is when you, this place you see ere. That's where you change first person singular, second person singular, third person singular, first person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. That's where you put the changes. Anything you put here will show the person you are referring to, whether you are referring to first person singular or second person singular or third person singular or first person plural, second person plural, or third person plural. That's where you refer. And our people always make this kind of mistake. When they are talking to first person singular, they might be using, they will use the third person singular instead of first person singular. Sometimes they want to use second person singular, they use third person singular. They are always confused on how to use these verbs, how to use them correctly. But when you listen to this lesson and you repeat it, just repeating it, rehearsing it, you will know the difference between first person singular, second person singular, third person singular. You know the difference, so that when you are saying anything, you know the correct one to use, the correct verb to use for that particular statement you are trying to make. So let's go to leggere. Io leggo, I read. Tu leggi, you read. Lui o lei legge, he or she reads. Noi leggiamo, we read. Voi leggete, you read. Loro leggono, they read. That's the verb leggere. Then prendere, to take. Io prendo la matita. I take a pen. Tu prendi, you take. Lui o lei prende, he or she takes. Noi prendiamo, we take. Voi prendete, you take. Loro prendono, they take. That is the verb prendere, to take. Vincere, to win. Io vinco, I win. Tu vinci, you win. Lui o lei vince, he or she wins. Noi vinciamo, we win. Voi vincete, you win. Loro vincono, they win. That's the verbs of the verbs that end with ere, second conjugation verbs. Verbo secondo coniugazione, the ere. These are the examples. Then let's go to ire. Verb ire have two groups. They call it terzo coniugazione. Verb ire. But when you look at it, you know it has two groups. Yes, I'll explain to you and I'll give you an example of the second groups. Like this one, dormire. You see the end, ire. It ends with this verb, dormire. The meaning of this verb, it means to sleep. To sleep, dormire, to sleep. Then when I'm talking to first person singular, second person singular, third person singular, io dormo. You see, remember that every first person singular will end with o. Every first person singular must end with o. That verb, that end you removed. If you are talking of first person singular, that is you're talking to yourself, you must end the verb with o. Dormire. Io dormo. I sleep. Tu dormi. You sleep. Then let me finish. Every first person singular must end with o. Every second person singular must end with e. Every third person singular must end with a or e, depending the verb. Like here now, you see, here is are is the end. So if you're talking of third person singular, it will end with a, parla. Yes, it will end with a. That's first letter of that end of that verb. It must end with that. Okay, let me tell you why. Here now, io dormo. Tu dormi. I sleep. You sleep. Lui or lei dorme. He or she sleeps. Noi. No. Io dormo, tu dormi, lui o lei dorme. Sì, lui o lei dorme. You see, dorme, it will end with e here. Likewise, ere. When you reach to third person singular, it will end with that ere, e. Like, io scrivo, tu scrivi, lui o lei scrive. You see, it ends with e because the verb, the end of that verb is ere, not are. If the end of the verb is are, that means third person singular will end with a. If the end of the verb end with ere, that means the third person singular will end with e. Scrive, lui o lei scrive. He or she writes. Yeah, lui o lei parla. He or she speaks. See, parla, scrive. You see why it changes because of the end of the verbs. Hope you got it. Alright. Dormire, io dormo. Tu dormi. I sleep, you sleep. Lui o lei dorme. You see, dorme ends. Remove this ire and put e. Lui o lei dorme. He or she sleeps. Noi dormiamo. Noi dormiamo. This iamo is always on noi. You don't change it. Noi dormiamo. You don't change the first person plural. Noi dormiamo. That one never change. Iamo, iamo, iamo. In every noi, in every we, you must use iamo. Noi dormiamo. We sleep. Voi dormite. You sleep. Loro dormono. They sleep. You see? Okay. This is the verb finire. Verbo finire. This verb is the second group of this ire. Is the second group. Oh yeah, when you listen to the first dormire, I say, io dormo, tu dormi, lui o lei dorme, noi dormiamo, voi dormite, loro dormono. I used the verb like I use this parlare and scrivere. But when you reach this finire, you cannot say io finio. No, you cannot say io fino, tu fini, lui fine. You can't use here. The verb changes. That's why I say it has two groups. Yes, that is the second group of the verb ire. Now, how you conjugate this one is io finisco. There is this thing they add, isk. Isk. I will show you the example at the back of the door, but let's just run this one down. Then I'll turn the board and show you what I'm trying to tell you about this verb finire. Io finisco, because here changes isk, but that o as first person singular must be there. It doesn't change. Io finisco, only that there's something that's there that is added. Isk. I-S-K. Isk. I wrote it at the back of the board. I'll show you when I finish with this one. Io finisco. I finish. Because this verb finire means to finish. It's simple and understandable. Io finisco. Tu finisci. I finish, you finish. Lui o lei finisce. Noi finiamo. Noi finiamo. You see, finiamo. Iamo. It doesn't change. You cannot say noi finisciamo. No. You cannot say that. It's wrong. You say noi finiamo. Voi finite. Loro finiscono. You see, isk. I've come to the loro. But iamo and ite, there is nothing like isk. We have only isk on primo first person singular, second person singular, third person singular, and the third person plural. That's where you will see this isk, where it will come. But first person plural and second person plural, you will not see it there. That's why some people, when they are using this verb, it's very difficult for them to know the right one to say. It's very difficult. Even me at the initial time, I found it difficult, but when I understand it, I say anyway. It's because they have up to 500 verbs on this second group of ire. Yes. Okay, let's see this capire. Verbo capire is the same group with this finire. They are in second group. Capire, finire, they are the same group. Io capisco. I understand. Verbo capire means to understand. Io capisco. Tu capisci. I understand. You understand. Lui o lei capisce. Lui o lei capisce. He or she understands. Noi capiamo. Noi capiamo. You see, iamo. I didn't mention capisciamo. I didn't say noi capisciamo. No, it's wrong. Noi capiamo. We understand. Voi capite. Voi capite. You understand. You see, iamo and ite, first person plural, second person plural, they don't change. They remain the same, like other verbs. But here, loro capiscono, that's third person plural. We have that same thing with the first, second, and third. Loro capiscono, they understand. I will explain better when I turn the board. Okay? Then sentire. Now let's go to verb sentire. Sentire means to hear, to listen. You understand? To listen. Verbo sentire, to listen. Here is the same like this dormire. Io sento. You see? It ends with o. Remove ire and put o. Io sento. I listen. Tu senti. You listen. Lui o lei sente. He or she listens. Noi sentiamo. Voi sentite. We listened. You listened. Loro sentono. Don't listen. Hope we are catching the thing. I know it will be doing some people, it will be confusing some people, but gradually it will enter. Let's go again with this sentire. Io sento, tu senti, I listen, you listen, lui o lei sente, noi sentiamo, voi sentite, loro sentono. We listen, they listen, you listen. Allora, let's go to verb aprire. Aprire, to open. Io apro la porta. I open the door. Io apro la porta. I open the door. Io apro. Tu apri. I open. You open. Lui o lei apre. Lui o lei apre. You see? Apre. Because the verb ends with ire. You. That person, singular, go with e, not a. Okay? Io apro. I open. Sorry. Io apro. See. I open. Tu apri. You open. Lui o lei apre. He or she opens. Noi apriamo. This verb aprire is normal verb like sentire, dormire, aprire, but finire and capire is in another group of verb. But they are in the same terzo coniugazioni, third conjugation verbs. They fall there, but they have their own groups. Now, aprire, io apro, tu apri, lui o lei apre, noi apriamo, voi aprite, loro aprono. Let's go to dire, verbo dire, to say. Dire means to say. Io dico, I say. Tu dici, you say. Lui o lei dice. He or she says. Noi diciamo, voi dite, loro dicono. I hope we are catching the thing small. Then the last verb I have here is verb venire. Venire means to come. Verb venire, to come. Here it changes a bit, not io vengo, no. Here you say io vengo. Io vengo, I come. Tu vieni, you come. Lui o lei viene, he or she comes. Noi veniamo, voi venite, loro vengono. Hope you are catching it gradually. Okay, now I want to show you the example I was talking about. Let me show you the example. Hope you can see it very well. I hope so. Okay, now see the verb I'm talking about. You see the verb parlare, the first verb that ends with are, I told you about. This is the changes, the only change you have to change in the verbs, while the verbs remain the same. You only change the last three, that are, ere, ire. That's where you have to change something, and what you are going to change will tell the person that is reading or person that is listening what or whom you are referring to. Io parlo, I speak. Tu parli. You see what we are going to add? Remove the are and add these ones to show whether you are talking to first person singular, second person singular, third person singular, first person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. This is how you know them. Then when you, I hope by now you will understand what I'm trying to explain. Io parlo, I speak. Tu parli, you speak. Lui o lei parla. Noi parliamo. Voi parlate, loro parlano. This is that verb I told you, the one that finished with ire. That third conjugation verb that end with ire. You see the second group. This one is the second group of that verb. It has first group. First group goes with this normal one, but the second group, you will see this kind of a things in the second groups. They have up to 500 verbs, and the second group that has this changes this way. So you see finire, this is verb finire. Now io finisco. You see at the end you still see that's first person singular, second person singular, third person singular. Then when you come in first person plural, it didn't change anything. It's the same thing as iamo, finiamo, finiamo. It goes the same. Then second person plural, finite, finite, doesn't change. But when it comes to the third person plural, it changes. Finiscono, finisc. It's only changed it. Isk, 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 isk. You pronounce it that way. Isk, 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 isk. Okay. Finiscono. Sorry. Finisco. I finish. Finish. You finish. Finish. He or she finish. Finiamo. We finish. Finite. You finish. Finiscono. They finish. Hope by now you will understand what I'm trying to teach you guys. So maybe by next time we'll also continue with that secondo coniugazione. I will still state it this way because that secondo coniugazione, the one that finish with ere. Ere. For example, scrivere. Okay, let me just give you small distance for you to understand what I'm trying to explain now. Okay, let's just say scrivere. Scrivere. Hope you can see me here. This scrivere now, if you want to state it like this ones now, io scrivo, scrivo, io scrivo, scrivo. I remove the ere and put o. Io, okay, let me just add io. Io scrivo, tu scrivi. Io scrivo, tu scrivi. Lui o lei scrive. See? Lui o lei scrive. Why you use is because you are using the second conjugation verbs that end with ere. So it will, third person singular will go with e. Because here, this verb that end with are, that's why the third person singular end with a. Parla. Because the verb is parlare. Then you third person singular go with parla. Lei parla. That's why here, scrivere, instead of going with a, because the verb, this verb over here is different from this verb. This one is ere, this one is are. Then you put scrive. Scrivere. Lui o lei scrive. Noi scriviamo. That iamo don't change. Scriviamo. You see? Noi scriviamo. Voi scrivete. You see, this one goes with ete. Voi scrivete. Loro. This one is not writing well again. Let me change to the black one. Loro scrivono, scrivono. You see? I just want to use this ere, second coniugazione, to give you an example of how you put the end. The first person singular remains the same. Nothing changes on that one. Likewise, the second person singular. The only little changes you'll be having depending on the end of the verb is in third person singular, and in second person plural, and in third person plural. That's where you can see little changes depending the verb, the end of the verb you are using, whether first conjugation verb or second conjugation verb or third conjugation verb. Yes, so my people, I hope that today our lesson will interest you, because most of our people, they make a lot of mistakes in these verbs, because sometimes when they speak, maybe I know why, because most of them, they did not go to Italian school to know which verb to use and how to use them correctly. So I'm advising, if you're interested, you can be practicing all these verbs. Go to your textbook, you have your books, Italian books, just study and know, because no knowledge is a waste. Even if you will not be in this country for some years, you will live tomorrow or next, it's still good for you to learn their language. As far as you are in the country, it's good to learn the language, so that you will not be intimidated by anybody. So that if you go to any office to do anything, nobody will intimidate you. You know you're right, and you know when they hear you speak Italian, they listen to you and do whatever you ask them to do for you. That's how I do my things. Any office I enter, if they say that that thing, they are not doing it again, but when they listen to me, they say, okay, they would like to listen to you because you are communicating with them very well. They like people that communicate, because if you are not communicating, sometimes they will abandon you. They are saying, they just tell you one thing for you to leave and go. But if they see that you are communicating well, they will give you an attention. So my people, we are going to stop here for today. See you next time, and please like our video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell, so that you will be alerted anytime we uploaded new video. Thank you for watching. Bye.